Good morning, sovereign entrepreneurs. Okay, so today I'm dividing this live into two sections. First, we're going to talk about high ticket and what you need to do to raise your prices without resistance, and what you need to do to find people who will pay them with ease. And then I'm going to talk to you about how, like, the truth around that dreaded but common I can't afford it objection, and how to get past that to the point where your clients actually want to figure out how to afford working with you. So that's what we're going to do today. I'm excited. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Ilsa. I'm a spiritual nerd, a licensed psychotherapist in private practice for over 15 years. I'm an expansion expert and strategist for other soulful entrepreneurs and transformational leaders. I essentially marry simple business strategies with nervous system expansion work so that you can receive more of everything you want. More clients, more visibility, more money, more opportunities, and so that you can receive them with a lot more ease, a lot more joy, a lot more simplicity and speed. So if you're ready to succeed a lot faster and without stressing, second guessing, pushing, or sabotaging yourself, then DM me because I might be the right mentor for you. All right, let's get started. So when I'm talking to a client and we are speaking about raising their rates, or even like raising their rates, and definitely when we're talking about high ticket. And for those of you who are going to ask me, like, what do I mean by a high ticket? Truth is, high ticket is a little bit of a bullshit word because everybody's got a different definition for it. At the lower end, $3,000 and up can be considered high ticket. A lot of people will say high ticket starts at $5,000. And there's a lot of people in the industry who will say nothing's a high ticket unless it's above $10,000 or $25,000. So you get to define what that means for you, essentially. The truth is, it doesn't matter. It's what feels like high ticket for you. So when I talk to a client about high ticket or about raising their rates, the first thing that always comes up is, where am I going to find people who will pay that much? And truth be told, that is also my automatic reaction when I raise my rates. It's the automatic fear that comes up is, no one's going to pay this. Like, the people in my audience are not going to pay this. Where am I going to find them? So usually what that means, that common response, is actually a reaction that our nervous system has when we have not calibrated to the new amount we're asking or wanting to ask. So when we're not yet in our nervous system, not just up here, but in here, when we are not yet in resonance with that new fee that we want to ask, then usually what happens is that something contracts. And in that contraction, that's when the doubt starts to show up. That's when the belief, no one will pay that, or where do I find those people? They're not around me, shows up. So when our nervous system is out of resonance with the new amount we want to charge, then it automatically, that amount of money feels far, feels hard, feels impossible, feels unavailable with things as they stand, feels unreasonable or even scary. But the moment you actually do the work to rewire your nervous system to be in resonance, to be calibrated to that new amount, then suddenly it's like this weight's lifted and there's this expansion that happens, and it actually automatically, really quickly, the new price starts feeling right. It starts feeling doable. It starts to feel like it makes sense. And there's a sense of certainty and conviction and excitement and delight that arises within you. But the trick here is the nervous system and where it's wired, where it's calibrated in terms of money, gets to decide whether something feels possible or whether something feels impossible, whether something feels easeful, easy, fair, right, or whether something feels not so easy, hard, difficult, tight, constricted, like, who the fuck are we to ask for this kind of money? that is a contracted nervous system. That's a nervous system that is not calibrated to the amount you want to make. So the truth is that selling high ticket or raising your rates has nothing to do with finding the right people, with finding people who can afford that, because those people are all around us already. And I know that when I am in contraction, that does not feel true. It does not feel true at all to me. It feels true that there's no one in my audience that's going to pay this rate. Let me explain to you why that is. Let me show you what's happening here. The way nervous system works is that they are in resonance or in coherence with each other. Kind of like, you know, how like birds of a feather flock together. So ready to buy clients, people who buy high ticket, have a nervous system that is literally wired and calibrated for high value offers. What that means is until you bring your own nervous system to be in resonance with your new rate, with your new fees, and to be calibrated for that amount, then literally those people who already are in resonance for that amount, who would happily pay that amount, they can't see you and you can't see them. Literally, it's like you're on two different planes, and so you keep missing each other. They're in your audience, but they're not seeing any of your posts. They're around, but they're missing things. Like it's just this weird thing that's happening where they're literally like their reticular activation system in their brain is literally streaming you out, filtering you out because you're not in resonance with them. So you have, until you bring your nervous system to essentially be a match and be in resonance with their nervous system, you won't be able to see them and they won't be able to see you. And the way you do that is you bring your nervous system in resonance with the kind of fees you want to pay. No, you want to get paid. Actually, you want to pay too. It's hard to get paid something that you're not willing to pay to someone else. It's not doable. Like I definitely know people who charge amounts that they've never paid someone else for work, but it's harder. When we've crossed that and we've actually invested in ourselves at that amount, it becomes a lot easier to ask for that amount in return for our work. So until you do your own work and you shift, you tweak, you expand your nervous system to essentially be able to hold and allow in more money, that high ticket rate, you're only going to attract people who can't afford you. And that's because your nervous system is a match to theirs. They're calibrated for lower investment, and you're also calibrated for lower investment. Their nervous system is a match to yours. Their nervous system is a match to your old price, essentially, to the price that you're comfortable asking, not to the new price that you're wanting to ask. So our work, and this is the work of every entrepreneur, honestly, our work is that we have to expand our nervous system to feel safe being seen, feel safe and comfortable asking, allowing, and receiving being paid that much. It starts in here first. If you don't start in here, then you can raise your rates all you want, but something in you is going to be in resistance. And there's all sorts of reasons why we resist on a nervous system basis, why we resist bringing in this much money. It can be anywhere from, if I charge this much, I'm not going to be able to get results. If I charge this much, everybody's going to want a piece of me and I'm going to lose my freedom. If I charge this much, people are going to judge me or criticize me. If I charge this much, family members are going to start flocking to me and wanting me to support them, or they're going to start talking about me. There can be all sorts of reasons why our nervous system is in contraction around raising our rates, and that's our work. That's our work so that we can start bringing in this kind of money, having a bigger impact on the world. This was one, by the way, this was one of the main benefits I got from the first high ticket offer I invested in. what's interesting is I actually didn't get much from that program, but that was one of the things I invested into this program. It was a lot of money for me. It was a 5-figure investment, and it felt like an outrageous amount of money for someone to pay for support. And I remember having to have that talk with my husband and all of that. It was intense. Let's say it that way. But the shock was that once I finally made the payment and I was enrolled into their community, and I noticed that there were hundreds of other people in there. And it occurred to me that there's a lot of people who pay this kind of money for support. For me, like I was like, those people don't exist. They're far and few between. The only way I could afford it, because we had just like renewed our mortgage, and then we had some extra money. Like I could not conceive that this many people could afford this kind of fee, and that there would be this many people in the program, which were actually for me was a little bit of a yuck factor, because I was thinking it would be an intimate program, and it wasn't. There were hundreds of people in there. And the funny thing about it too is that these were not the kind of people I expected to be in a high ticket program. They were not people with a ton of money. They were not people who had extremely successful business, who were making multiple 6 figures already. These were regular people, some of them who didn't, like from my perspective, had no business investing this kind of money. This was again my small perspective, my contracted perspective. But you know what? For them, it was worth it. For them, the value of the program was such that they figured out how to afford it, even though it was a huge investment for them. So when you rewire your nervous system for wealth, when you recalibrate your nervous system for the highest level work you want to do, the highest level fee you want to charge, you will find that people from all walks of life, from everywhere around you, people who were right there and you had no idea, will pay you, and they will pay you abundantly for that work. It's about us being able to receive it. It's about our nervous system being able to allow it in and to essentially be a match for that client who is ready to invest at that level, who is ready to get that kind of support, who's ready. Their nervous system is ready. Their nervous system is in a place of expansion, so they can hold it. And even if they can't quite hold it, they can figure out a way to afford it. Because that's the other thing. Having an expanded nervous system creates resilience in us, but it also creates resourcefulness. So when your client, when their nervous system is in resonance with that higher level investment and that higher level of support and quality of support, even if it's a stretch for them, they're expanded enough that they're going to figure out how to afford it. So our work is always to recalibrate. Your work is always to recalibrate yourself and your internal circuitry, your neural circuitry, to be able to comfortably, easily, and joyfully ask and receive what you want to be paid. So that was the first part. The truth about high ticket, it's not, and the truth about where to find them. People are all around us. We just have to become a nervous system match for not only our price, but also for the people who are willing to invest at that capacity. Number 2, let's talk about the I can't afford it, because obviously these two kind of come together. It's the number one objection that soulful entrepreneurs get. And I bet most of us, if not all of us who are going to watch this, have had someone say that to us. I've been on the receiving end of that objection. And I guarantee you that most of you have also said it to someone else at some point. I sure have. So the truth is, for many, if not most of us, I can't afford it is not a circumstance. It's a construct. Just like that experience of going into this really expensive container. I mean, even me saying the word expensive is a construct, because what I consider to be expensive then feels really cheap and affordable for someone else, right? Like, and what I now consider to be expensive is completely different than what I consider to be expensive back then. But when I went into this container, that was a five-figure investment. And I realized how many people in there had figured out a way to afford it, even though they were in between jobs, or they didn't have a ton of savings, or they didn't have a husband, who was like footing the bill, or a partner who was footing the bill, or anything like that. Like, it was a stretch for them. What was happening for them is, even though the circumstance weren't right, their construct was right. Their way, their perspective was right. So when we believe we can't afford it, it becomes so. When our clients believe they can't afford it, it becomes so. But we've all been in a situation where we have found ways to afford things we thought we couldn't afford. I can't afford it usually speaks to the importance and the value we place on something, not to the reality of it. What it actually means is, it's not important or valuable enough to me right now for me to figure out how to afford it. Now, that might hurt, but that's the truth. When a client says to you, I can't afford it, most of the time, not all of the time, there's truly people who are really struggling. And if that's them, they probably shouldn't have been on the call for you to make that offer anyways. But for most people who say, I can afford it, what they really mean is, I'm not clearly seeing the value of this, and it doesn't feel important enough to me right now to figure out how to make the payments, how to afford it. So this is why, as practitioners, it's really important for us to essentially hold the vision, the possibility for our clients, rather than buying into their notion of limitation of scarcity. It's also because usually when somebody shows up to talk to you, they're in contraction, they're stuck. They're not here because they love their lives and everything's going great. They're here because something's not happening for them. And you might have the answer of how to make that work. So part of what you're going to do for them is, you're going to hold, like, they're going to borrow on your confidence. They're going to borrow your certainty. They're going to borrow your conviction until they feel ready to reclaim that for themselves, and to do it, to hold it on their own. This is why when you are in a sales call, it's really important for us as practitioners, as entrepreneurs, to really speak to the future that becomes possible working with you, rather than the features of your offer. And we've all done that. I still get caught up in doing that. I did it a few weeks ago, where I'm talking to somebody and I'm talking about what's included in my program. And I'm just listing the stuff that is included in it. And I could see her eyes kind of glazing over, like, oh shit, there's a lot of things included in that. That seems like a lot. That seems hard. I just literally robbed this person of their confidence in that moment, because I just threw so many features at them, rather than focusing on, what is it that we're going to accomplish together? What is it that they're going to get to have and experience and create together? You want to speak to what becomes possible when they work with you. The focus of what you offer will create a future, needs to create a future for them. They need to literally be able to see it, to feel it, to taste it. When they do that, they actually get into expansion. You need to ask yourself, not so much like you're in sales. Your job is not to sell. Your job is to create an environment, a picture, an experience that gets people to feel what is possible for them and to want to buy from you, to feel like buying from you. You only want to start talking about the details and what's included in your offer after you've told them about their future and you're selling their future, and they start asking. Like when they're interested and they say to you, oh, that sounds amazing. So what does your program include? What's actually included in that? What do I get for that? Then they've given you permission to start listing what's included. You get a weekly call with me, you get a mastermind, you get this, you get that, you get access to this course, whatever is included in your offer. That's the details. You sell the future that is possible for them, not the features. So you might say something like, hey, with this $5,000 investment, you give me $5,000 and I'll help you create, have, experience XYZ. This is what we will do together. So for me, I might say this is off the cuff. This is actually not my price and not exactly how I say it. But I could say something like, hey, if you give me $5,000, together we'll completely rewire and recalibrate your nervous system for effortless success so that you can feel safe being seen and recognized as an expert in your field, and you can radically increase your capacity to reach and enroll clients with ease and be paid what you desire and what you deserve. And we'll do all of that without you having to stress, second guess yourself, push, or sabotage. So that might be my offer. I'm painting the future. We'll get to have all of these things and you'll get to have them without having to deal with all this bullshit. What I didn't say to them is, hey, if you give me $5,000, well, I'll meet with you weekly, and then you'll have access to XYZ course, and then I'll give you 20 different expansion practices. Like suddenly it's like, whoa, too much, too soon, and not enough love, not enough excitement, not enough delight. They don't care about the stuff. They care about getting the results, especially at first. Once they've hooked by the results, once they want to work with you and they want the future you're painting for them, then you give them the details. Then you give them everything that's included. And you do it in such a way that they still understand the value of that. So I might say, hey, you'll have access to my monthly retreat so that you can totally release childhood wounds and step into your sovereignty and really practice showing up in that expansion of your nervous system or something like that. So you always lead with the future that's going to become possible for them, that they know is waiting for them, and you hook them with that. And then once they are a yes, once they want that, they will figure out how to afford it. So if we come back to this concept of the nervous system in here, when you're talking to people about the details of your offer, you're actually contracting them, because usually most of us always include too much in our offers because we really want our clients to get results. So when you start listing everything that's included, everything they're going to have to do, you are contracting their nervous system, which literally is going to make it impossible for them to see the future they want, and impossible for them to be resourceful enough to figure out how to afford your high ticket rate. So when you paint the future and you sell the future, you are literally taking them into a journey of expansion. Their nervous system will start to relax, will start to become receptive to that. And when our nervous system is expanded, we become resourceful. So even if it's not quite, even if it's a stretch for them, something in them, something in their brain will literally become able to start thinking of solution. Where could I figure out how to afford this? Can I get a credit card? Where do I have money stashed away that's doing nothing for me? What investment is doing nothing and I'm going to actually just sell that and use that money for something that matters. So your job in painting that picture, in selling their future, your job is essentially you are rewiring and bringing their nervous system to be in resonance with you, with your nervous system, and to be in resonance with the future they see as possible and know is possible, and in resonance with investing for that future. I'm looking at my notes, seeing if I forgot anything. All right, I think this is it. You want to make your offer essentially important enough to figure out, for them to figure out how to pay for it. And the way you do that is you really paint a picture and you help them visualize their future. And you make sure that your offer is actually selling them the future that they sense is waiting for them if they work with you. And you leave all the features, all the bullet points, all the details towards the end, when they're already sold, when they're ready to move forward. When you help them do that, you're expanding the nervous system so that you are literally helping them step into possibilities. You're literally helping them claim their potential, and you're literally allowing them to become receptive and resourceful so that they can figure out how to work with you. In this case, like what's happening is they're selling themselves. So you're actually never selling. You are simply creating an experience that make them want, that make them feel like they are sold and they want to buy from you. All right, so that's what I have for you today. How the nervous system affects everything from being able to charge high ticket to being able to find the clients who will be able to pay high ticket, and how to maneuver in the sales calls to not get the I can't afford it objection. If you're ready to become visible, to enroll more clients, to get paid for the value of your work, to get paid well, without having to stress, without having to second guess yourself or push or spin or sabotage, and you're looking for a mentor who really values and makes wholeness and happiness an integral part of success, then we should talk, because I think I might be the mentor for you. I can help you achieve, by marrying business strategies and nervous system expansion work, I can help you achieve your goals without having to struggle so damn much or work so damn hard. My work essentially helps you to break free from all the receiving and visibility blocks, and essentially increase your capacity so that you can be seen, you can be recognized as an expert, you can start bringing in clients with a lot more ease, and you can actually be able to receive money at the level that you want to receive it, and show up in the world at the level that you want to show up. So, and to do all of that, because it's not just about bringing in more, it's about bringing in more with a lot more ease and a lot more enjoyment and a lot more pleasure, without having to struggle, without having to work so damn much. When we become a bigger container, when we become expansive, then things can flow in, and it gets to be simple. It gets to be easier, if not easier. And that's important, because we can all bring in more, but if we're killing ourselves, if we're hating our lives in the process of bringing in more clients or bringing in more money or getting visible and well known and recognized and all of that shit, then it's not worth it. At least for me, it's not worth it. And I would warn that it's not going to be worth it for you long term either. It will only lead to burnout. So there's essentially two ways to connect with me. For new clients, for new people, we can either schedule a free 30-minute call where we're going to figure out like what's going on with you and what you need to get unstuck, both in your nervous system and tangibly in your business. And then we'll discuss which of my programs or packages is most appropriate for where you're at right now. The other way to connect with me is I offer a 90-minute deep dive breakthrough intensive for new clients at half price. So it's $145. It's a full 90 minutes, sometimes a little longer, and you and I will partner together and dive deep in one area of your business or in one block in your nervous system to essentially create and give you access to that breakthrough. And then we'll decide whether or not we want to continue to work together based on that. So if you would like to either do a 30-minute call, you feel like I'm the right person for you, you feel like what I'm offering is what you need, and you're ready to get started, then either book that 30-minute call or let's do a 90-minute deep dive breakthrough work, and you can DM me. Just DM me in Messenger. If you are on YouTube, I will actually put a link for you to book either one of those appointments in there. I would love to help you unlock your potential and succeed while staying in ease and alignment. That would be a great honor for me to do that and to help you have a great impact on the world. So if any of this is resonating, then just connect with me and let's do it. All right, that's what I got for you. I'm sending you all some love and hope that you have a great rest of your week and weekend. Mwah, mwah.